Last week I started live streaming, and what I want to tell you about this is that I started live streaming because I was in a very bad place. I was feeling incredibly bad. I was feeling sad, depressed, misunderstood, outcasted. Last couple of weeks, it was just I lived in a very toxic for me environment. I was doing I had a lot of schoolwork and I don't like my school, so it was really hard to me and that was incredibly stressful. I had a couple of rough, tough conversations, and I would probably say just my mental stage, my mental stability, if that makes sense, it was just gone. And was kind of really falling into the dark side. This is how I want to explain this. I was falling into the dark side, and last week it was probably the peak of kind of like maybe depression what I experienced. On Sunday I had some great realization. I realized that the way I think about everything is not a healthy way to think about life. And I realized that the world is, to be completely honest, not such a good place. Sometimes we're forced to do something that we don't like doing. Sometimes we're forced to live at the place where we don't like to live at. Sometimes we have to deal with the people we don't really like. Sometimes people make you upset. Sometimes, yeah, we live in the world full of, yeah, assholes and jackasses, to be completely honest. The world is a pretty depressing place to live in, and that is true. I don't want to think that everything is so nice, actually, everything is awesome, it's so wonderful. Living a life is hard, but what I want to tell you is that even if living a life is hard, even if sometimes you're forced to do something that you don't actually like doing, or a lot of times, actually most of the times, you have to deal with bad people and other people upset you, and yeah, everybody's an asshole, it might be true, but even if so, it doesn't mean that you have to be like that. Even if you think that uh, the entire world is against you and everything is so bad and everybody upsets you, or you feel misunderstood, outcasted, or anything like this, it doesn't mean that you have to be falling into the dark side. And this is what I realized. I realized that I have to try to be a better version of myself. I realized that the way I thought about life, because I was fetishizing my own sadness just so much, I was just living like this. I was thinking that I was misunderstood, outcasted, and I was thinking that everybody's wrong, everybody was bad to me, everybody, so many. And actually, to be completely honest, it's true. So many people did do a lot of bad things to me, a lot of bad things. A lot of people made me so upset, depressed. Even last year, there were so many people who I loved so much, so many people who I loved so much, and so many people who I really thought as the part of the family, or these people were just so important to me. And so many people scammed me, made me feel upset, betrayed me, used me, fucked me over. Literally, so many people. It was just so bad. It was so awful. A lot of people made me so depressed that it's been almost a year and I still kind of have to go through all of this. There were some people who destroyed my life, literally, who made me so depressed, zero desire to live, and it was just horrible. They made me really upset. But it doesn't mean that I have to be like that. Doesn't mean that if the entire world was treating me wrong, it doesn't mean that I have to be like them. I have to be better. I realize that I have to try to be more kind. I have to try to be more. I have to try to learn to forgive people. Yes, they did bad things. I don't have to forget about this. I have to keep remembering. I have to keep remembering every bad thing that somebody did to me because I have to learn from my experience. But learning from your experience with bad people doesn't mean that you have to keep being angry at them, thinking about this all the time, and thinking that they showed you something and you have to do the same things to other people. This is not true. You have to try to be better, you have to be more kind, you have to learn how to forgive, but remember. And I just realized that for my life, I'm almost 20 years old. I think I've done a lot of mistakes. Uh, a lot of mistakes that I've done, they did not affect. To be honest, this is not necessarily true. I think I've done a lot of mistakes which affected other people. I think absolutely it was kind of hard for my parents to, yeah, just like knowing that I'm always depressed, that I'm always sad, that calling them and yeah, this is their responsibility to listen to my feelings and listen to how I feel about everything. But it doesn't mean that I have to call them and just always say to them like everything sucks, everything sucks, everything sucks. It was wrong on me and I apologize. In front of my parents, I did apologize for this. Just in general, there were some people who I unfortunately hurt seriously, and I was feeling, and I still am feeling really bad about everything. And I know that this is true, but even so, for the most part, I was maybe like the only person so far, because there are a lot of different ways of how you can ruin your life. You can ruin your life by making mistakes, and I was making those mistakes. And the only person, no, I don't want to say the only person, I'm sorry, I'm taking this back. The person who was affected the most by this mistake so far, because I wasn't doing anything, that crazy or something. I'm saying I'm still on the good track, still everything is fine so far. So I, had not ruined my life at that point. But I was affected so badly by these mistakes. Some of the mistakes, that was my personal choice. I chose to do these things, or I chose to do, or I chose to think the specific self destructive way, which was incredibly bad. Some of the things were outside of my control because I've not gotten from. I had a very. We had our issues, if that makes sense. We had our issues, we had problems, and for a very long time we were trying to avoid talking about these issues. But I realized that this is not going to be happening anymore, and I will try to do my best in the future to make. My family has a very good potential of being a perfect family, and even though it was not always like that, but the only problem we had was that sometimes we were trying to pretend that there were some issues, but we were trying to avoid them. And I'm not going to keep doing this anymore. And in a very healthy way, I want to promise this. I will try to deal with this, and I will try to make sure that everything will be better and the communication between us will be better. We'll solve I'll try to solve all of these issues, and I will try to do it together with them, with my parents, with my brother, with all the other members of my family. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I promise. Going back to the mistakes that I was making, I've gotten from a very toxic environment. From a very toxic environment. I went to school and my class was incredibly toxic. My class was incredibly bad. I was a very innocent, nice kid at the moment. I was incredibly innocent. I was incredibly nice. I was. Because my family was. Because my family was good. We had some opportunities in life. My parents were trying to put good things into my head. I had good influences. I was trying to, the people or the things that I enjoyed in life. They were just so nice. I was just such a nice kid. My class was incredibly toxic. It's a bit of a story, but when I was at school, I came to my school where I stopped going there. I started homeschooling. It was seventh grade, but I came to my school. It was the second grade, and everybody kind of like decided to hang out with each other, and my class was full of bullies, full of the jerks, just bad people. They were doing horrible stuff. I want to tell you the story. One day there was one guy who was kind of like, everybody kind of like did not like this guy. And I think at first it was not fair because he was just a kid. He was just a kid. He was who he was, but they did not like him. Yeah, he was maybe weird. Maybe he did not actually smell that good. Maybe he had kind of like a very weird sense of humor or the way he talked. But one day, one of the classmates of mine, he took his jacket, he threw it in the toilet, and after that, he peed on his jacket. This is just one of the stories. And my class was divided on cool kids, jerks, just really bad people, bullies. And after that, there were close surroundings of these cool people. Honestly, just mostly girls or some absolutely normal guys who nobody had any issues with. I don't know how they got into this category, but this is what it was. And after that, at the bottom of my class, there were these guys, they were losers. And I don't think they were losers, they were just kids, This is what I'm trying to say. They were just kids, they were just normal kids. But these guys just hated them. They couldn't just give them peace, They were always saying bad things to them. They were fighting them. They were taking their stuff. They were just destroying their stuff. This is what they were doing, and the life of these kids was really hard. And I was somewhere in the middle between the close surroundings of cool kids and these losers. And what I chose to do, I chose to help them. I chose to help them. I was trying to make sure that these guys were not making them too upset. I was trying to hang out with them. I was trying to give them support. I was trying to yeah, this is what I was trying to do. Whenever they had some kind of conflict with these guys, I was trying to help them out. I was trying to kind of like talk them out of the situations or try to show that these bullies were wrong. But because of that, nobody was doing such a crazy stuff to me. But because of all of these things, because I decided to stand with these losers, the guys were making fun of me. The guys were making, I don't know how to explain this. They were calling me all of these bad things, just using so many bad words. I was never swearing till I turned, well, kind of early, but for that time I'll get to this point of the story at some point. But I was just such a nice kid, and they were saying all of these really bad words. And Russian language, it's a very rich language in terms of what words you can use to say bad things about other people. And they were telling me these words that I did not even know any meaning of. It was absolutely unfair. One day I just went to the class and I was just doing it. Was a class of my it was a German language class, and I just sat down in front of my desk and I was just sitting, and like six guys were walking in a circle, and they were calling me just so many bad things. They were calling me, my name is Misha, and this name is very rhythmic to the name Masha, which is basically kind of like a female version of Misha. And at that time, I was fucking 8 years old, right? So I was taking it very seriously, and there were just six guys who were walking around me in a circle, calling me all of these bad fucking words. I don't know if I really even want to say this, but they were calling me Masha, Masha, Masha all the time. There were just so many situations when some of these losers got beaten up. And of course, I was involved too because I was trying to help him out. And I had a teacher who was a horrible teacher. The reason why I'm saying that she was a horrible teacher is because she was a teacher who, I don't even know how to say this. I don't know how she was allowed to work with children, because what she was doing was all right. So there was like a situation, something got beaten up. I was involved to a certain degree because I was helping. And what she was doing is something that in Russia we call публичная порка. Публичная порка, was gonna say it with the English accent, sorry. Публичная порка is something that the teacher was taking everybody in front of the entire class to talk about the situation that happened. And I was a very emotional kid, and I did nothing wrong. The only thing that I was doing, I was trying to help these losers. And these guys were always on the wrong, always on the wrong. These guys, imagine, they were bullies, they were bad people, they were bad kids, horrible kids. Just shame on their parents, that they just, let them be like that. But I was doing nothing wrong. The only thing that I was doing, I was trying to help them. I was trying to help this. I was trying to help these guys whose life was really hard at school. But I was also involved, and I was standing in front of the entire class. And because I'm a very emotional person. I was just starting. I was just crying in front of the entire class, in front of 30 people, because these assholes did something bad, because they were bad kids. I did nothing wrong. I was trying to help people in need, but because of that, that teacher was just making a fool of myself. Instead of, to be completely honest, what she had to do, she had to know what these guys were doing, and she had to do something about this. Talk to their parents, or kind of like realize if any situations like that like happen, it is their fault, not ours. But no, she decided to publicly deal with this situation, and it was a public humiliation. These guys, they never dropped a single tear. They never had this feeling that they did something wrong. they never cared at all. I was crying. I was crying in front of everybody, in front of my class, in front of all of the girls, and after that, it was all done, and I just kept crying. I had an opportunity to sit down and I kept crying because of how hard it was for me to take this, because I did nothing wrong. And it just kept happening for 3 years. This 3 years I was coming home for 3 years, for 3 years straight, and I was coming home in tears, cries, in anger. I didn't want to go to school because it was just so hard for me, because my school was terrible, my class was terrible. And at some point, it was the summer of 2017. And at some point, because I was influenced by some of the people I know, I decided to be cool. I decided to become cool. It just happened to be something which kind of like was an actual, foundation of my entire character. I decided to change myself, and I decided to change this perspective of the way how I thought about everything. What I decided to do, I decided to change the way I look. I got a better hairstyle. I started getting better clothes. Before that, all of my clothes that I had, I was getting it from my parents. It was the first time, the first school year when I said, "Hey mom, I want this and this and this. It will make me look cool." For the first time, I started looking cool. I changed the way I talk. I changed the way I joke. I started using swear words, which are, I love them right now, but it was kind of like, my parents never wanted me to do this, but well, I started. But now I love it, but at that time, and I just realized that, if kind of like a bad thing, I think a bad thing that I did, but I realized that if we're talking, if my class is the place where I have to survive, I cannot keep being like that. I want to say I've never become a bully. There was some times when I was kind of also started being how to say this, frustrated with these guys too. And I think that there were some times when I was also saying mean things to them, kind of like turned my back on them, which I want to, if I ever get a chance to apologize in front of anybody, I will apologize in front of them. But I've never become like these guys to like a full extent. There were just maybe a couple of situations, but I realized that I could not keep saving them. I could not keep. I was forced to change, and I realized that this is, to be honest, true. It was not at that point in my mind. It was not. It was not a situation when they were innocent, and these guys, these bullies, were wrong. The bullies were assholes. They were wrong at any point, but these guys, they still had an opportunity to change themselves. The things that I did too. You can start looking better, change the way you talk, change the way you think. They had this mindset of being a victim. They were blaming the entire world that actually I'm misunderstood genius, and these guys, I'm such a nice kid, and these guys are bad, these guys are assholes. Yes, this is true, they were assholes. But these guys also could make some changes and become better. But maybe I took it too seriously. And ever since that moment, ever since 2017, I believe, I was 11, my ultimate goal in life started being cool, as cool as I possibly can. And it just, this school experience, it gave me such a, so many complexes, complexes that I want to be sure that I'm the coolest guy around. And ever since that, I really felt misunderstood. I think it changed my ability to have good, normal, healthy relationships. I was kind of always trying to walk this way of life alone. I was trying to be the coolest guy ever. I needed to be sure I'm the best guy ever, the best guy at everything. That my that I look amazing, and that story played a big part of becoming who I am. And to be completely honest, I know that I am a narcissist. To be honest, I'm a very narcissistic person. I'm very selfish, and I think I'm very hypocritical. I don't think there's a person in this world who I never thought bad of. And I know that I'm incredibly self centered. I know I love myself too much. And I know that I am really afraid of other people hurting me. But what I want to say is that I am the person who suffers from all of this a lot. I'm not the person who is cool. I'm the person who wants and always wanted to seem to be cool. But behind all of this facade of trying to be awesome and always be this like the loudest guy in the room, there were a lot of this foundation was built on bad experience. Bad experience. How to say this? This foundation was built on bad experiences, toxic environment, complexes, and my own insecurities. Because yes, I love myself, but is this actually true? And I think it's not. I started thinking that everybody is wrong. I stopped believing in good. I started falling into this dark path. I started actually becoming like this. I know that this qualities, it's my narcissism is something that I honestly do believe is the part of my character. It's not something that I can remove from myself. I will probably have to live with this throughout my entire life. But that is also something which made me feel incredibly miserable in life. And I want to say that even though sometimes I was falling on the dark path and I was falling into the dark side, it does not necessarily mean. What I want to say is that I was always trying to fight this. I was always trying to fight this, and that was so hard. But even recently, my life was incredibly crazy. I just kept living. I kept kind of like. I started embracing all of my dark qualities because I thought it would make me. It would make me cool, and I will be able to prove everybody that they were wrong about me, that those people who were making me upset, that they were on the wrong, and I actually turned out to be awesome, the coolest ever guy around. This is what I thought. And maybe that was kind of the reason why I was not able to have good relationships, and for a very long time, still I was misunderstood. Other people, a lot of people liked me, a lot of people did not like me, but I was taking very seriously other people who did not like me. And that is just, I think I kind of lost my point. What I realized about all of this is that Yes, bad things happened in the past. I've had bad experiences, I met bad people. A lot of people hurt me. But it doesn't mean that I have to let all of these negative emotions and all of these bad experiences to take over. I still I need to take responsibility, and I need to take responsibility for my own happiness and for my own mental being. I have to change the way I think, even though it's so hard. I need to learn how to try to be better, not to let other people hurt me, but be smart. I need to be kind, more forgiving. I need to be smart. I need to recognize the patterns of my own self destructive behavior. And because I'm only 19 years old right now, I'm about to be 20 on 6th of June this year. And what I want to say is that I've lived a life full of excitement and full of joy, but also full of misery. And I always had high highs and just lowest of the lowest moments in my life. And I was always like this. I was feeling awesome, like everything is so great, everything is so amazing. And after that, I was feeling as I was depressed as never before, and I was hitting the rock bottom. And I realized that it will spoil my life. Not it exactly, but me. The way I think, the patterns that I was refusing to recognize because I felt it was cool, or I felt like it was just too late or too hard to me to change myself and change the way I think. I was doing bad things, I was self destructive, I was letting myself go on the dark path. And I realized that all of these things, they were not helping me to be who I am. Yes, that was me. But me is also an incredibly bright, kind, nice, good person who has a lot of passion and a lot of interest in the universe. And I want to explore this. I want to become better at things that I like doing, and I want to achieve the success. But not in this toxic way. I want to have good relationships. I want to, and hopefully I'm not alone. I've got good friends around me. I've got friends who can support me. Today, after all of this, today after that bad thing happened, I called my friends, and the reason why I was telling all of this very, very long story was because today something horrible happened to me. The things that I had to hear, that they were just so hard to take. And maybe I could have gotten home today thinking, why on Sunday, just a couple of days ago, I felt like I understood everything, and I felt and I was telling those people that I would make good changes in my life. I was telling, I told to a lot of people, I had a 1 hour conversation with my mom where for a very long time I was truly honest, and I was telling her that I'm so you might not know about all of the things which were happening in my life because I was not that close. But those things that I want you to be sure that I will be all right. I want to be sure that I will recognize all of these patterns of my self-destructive behavior, and I will try to find the way not to be happy, but I will try to find a way to have a peace within myself, because this is the most important thing. And today, yeah, I had to hear bad things. Don't want to say I was 100%. I don't know. Don't want to say I was 100% on the right. It was a big miscommunication what happened today, but I had to hear all of these bad things, and I was crying today. I cried so badly. I was crying, and I had this feeling, how is it possible that I thought I came to this realization of how to start becoming better? For what? To hear today that I am selfish, self-centered piece of shit? Yes. Sadly, I had to hear this. And I had to hear other things which were so horrible. And I thought maybe I would come home and let myself. I had this thought, but it was very briefly, that maybe all this time I was right. Maybe all this time I was right that if we live in this world full of people who can even allow themselves, if we live in the world of people which can allow themselves, it's fucking hard to say things right now. I thought that maybe if we live in the world where people can allow themselves, I will just keep fucking going. I don't care. If they can think that they can say these things like what I heard today to other people, no matter what, because that is wrong. And I thought maybe if we live in this world, I have to also be like that. Maybe they're right. Just let me be this self-centered piece of shit. But that is not true. The thing that happened today, I took as a challenge. I took it as a challenge, and I took it as a challenge because maybe somebody is watching over me right now. And this somebody wants to know how I react to this. He wants to know what I choose to do. And I had a choice. I had a choice to keep being self-destructive. I had a choice to fully embrace this dark qualities that I had inside of me, and keep being self-centered piece of shit. And who knows? Yeah, probably about this it might be true. Maybe I will keep being self-centered. Maybe it will. Maybe I will. And I don't think I have to. But the thing that I decided to choose today was to not to let all of this break me. I said to my mom, to myself, and to my friends who I love that I will try to find the peace within myself. And I had some doubts that that would be possible, but this situation proved that no matter what, I will try to find the peace within myself. I will try to be more kind, more forgiving. I will try to. I think I said everything I wanted to. I had a phone call with my friends. I called them and I said that I love them. And I said to them that thank you very much. That it's funny. I always think, oh yeah, I'm like, I have all of these bad fucking qualities within myself. I'm a narcissist, I'm selfish, and like I'm a hypocrite. And I always think every day, which is so hard, they never thought about me this way. They saw me as this interesting guy who traveled across the world to live a dream life that he always wanted, that put a lot of efforts into this, who learned a foreign language. English is not my first language, and I learned it in just 1 year just because I wanted to achieve what I want to achieve. They always liked me and respected me for this, and they respected me for being a good friend to them, bringing them joy, all of this nice, good, incredible memories that we've had together. And they never thought about me as this hypocritical, self centered piece of shit, or a narcissist, or egoist, or anything like this. And I thought about myself this way, but they saw me for my good qualities which I can offer and which I'm offering to people who deserve this. And I said thank you very much to you, because that was one of the things which was incredibly important to me. I realized that me being depressed, upset, was not making my friends feel good. Not like it got any serious or something, but I realized that it was not a good thing for me. Not like not it was just too much. I was not only just sad or depressed, or I was very negative, not towards them, but still all the time hearing this guy's an asshole, this guy's an asshole, it's all shit, it's all shit, it's all shit, it's not good. And yesterday, actually, I met with one of my best friends, and I told him everything that happened last week and how I felt couple of last weeks, and I told him literally everything that I said today. I said that I will do my best to find peace within myself, and I said to him that, hey, today the situation happened that was supposed to break me, and I maybe was supposed to get into this kind of like maybe dark side, yeah, as they say, light side of the force, dark side of the force. But I realized that if I believe that there's good in me, and there always has been, just sometimes I thought I was forgetting about this. But this time I want to say that I promised it to myself, I promised it to my parents, and I promised it to my friends that I will find peace within myself, and I will not let anybody or anything to break me. There will be bad things in my life which will eventually happen. There will be bad people. There will be bad experiences. There will be things which will make me incredibly upset. But that does not mean that I will fall on the dark path of depression, misery, and sadness. And this is what I wanted to tell you today. Thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate this. There will be a lot of things that I will keep doing in the future. I'm streaming right now on Kick, so you can subscribe. I'm sure I will be making YouTube videos, and I'm sure that these videos will be awesome. I started playing guitar, and I started making music on Ableton again, which I think I have so much passion towards. And I think I have a very good potential with my incredible, interesting personality to show the world who I really am, and show to myself that I'm capable of the things that I thought I was not capable of, because I thought I was lazy, I was self destructive, but not anymore. I'll finish my school, be sure it will be alright, deal with everything, and after that, learn everything from all of these bad and good experiences that have happened in my life. And I will be sure that I will be who I am, which is the still that innocent child, because that innocent child who I once used to be, he's still somewhere inside of me. and that will be a person who I will try to become once again. Thank you very much. I thought it was everything that I wanted to say. Wish everybody to find peace within themselves, and don't let bad experiences to take over. Thank you.